I want you to picture a completely mundane daily habit.
Right. It's something you probably do without a single conscious thought.
Exactly. Like you're grabbing a quick cup of tea on your way to work, or maybe paying for parking at a crowded garage.
Or even just dropping a small donation in a charity box sitting on a checkout counter.
Yeah, you just reach into your pocket, you pull out your phone, open your camera, and, scan that ubiquitous little black and white square.
And your phone buzzes.
Right. Your phone buzzes, a green check mark appears on the screen, you grab your tea, and you walk away.
The whole process takes, what, maybe 3 seconds?
Barely even 3 seconds. I mean, it is the ultimate symbol of modern frictionless convenience.
It really is.
But, and this is why we are here today, that exact symbol of convenience, that tiny square of digital static, has quietly been weaponized against us.
It's honestly a profound manipulation of human psychology. And it's just hiding in plain sight.
It's terrifying when you actually look into it. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack a massive stack of notes detailing this rapidly evolving world of QR code manipulation tricks.
Because we are looking at an environment where scammers are bypassing millions of dollars in, like really sophisticated banking cybersecurity.
And they aren't doing it by writing complex code or hacking into mainframes.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They are doing it using a simple 10-cent printed sticker.
Which is wild to think about.
I know, the sheer simplicity of the attack vector is exactly what makes it so devastating.
So we're going to map out exactly how this invisible infrastructure of fraud operates.
We'll break down the specific traps being laid out in the physical world.
Right, and the psychology of why we fall for them, and most importantly, how you can build a defense system.
Because whether you are a quick-moving consumer just trying to get your caffeine fix, or a busy merchant trying to clear a line of customers, this affects your daily life.
It really does. These scams are engineered with incredible precision for people who simply do not have the time to look closely.
Well, the entire foundation of this fraud rests on the modern condition of being rushed,
Yeah, our society has spent the last decade optimizing for speed.
Absolutely. Tech companies have invested billions of dollars to create frictionless transactions. They want the gap between desire and purchase to be...
To be literally zero.
Exactly. But when you systematically remove all the friction from a process, you also remove the moments of pause where critical thinking happens.
Oh, that makes so much sense. You eliminate the space where someone might stop and say, wait, does this actually look right?
Precisely. Scammers have realized they don't need to hack the encryption of the banking system. They just need to hack that cultivated lack of friction.
Wow. Okay, so to really understand how they hack that lack of friction, we have to start with the most brazen tactic currently operating in the wild.
The sticker replacement scam.
Yes, the sticker replacement scam. The mechanics of this are almost insultingly simple.
It really is just physical world tampering.
Right. So a scammer walks up to a legitimate business, takes a photograph of the merchant's original QR code, goes home, and prints out a fake QR code that is linked to their own personal bank account.
And then they just come back and seamlessly paste their fake sticker directly over the legitimate one.
It's the ultimate physical hack of a digital system.
Yeah, it requires zero coding knowledge, zero network intrusion, and, it happens in broad daylight.
Okay, let's unpack this with an example. Picture a busy local tea stall.
Right. It's morning. There's a massive crowd.
The merchant is shouting orders, pulling tea, managing inventory. It's chaotic.
Very chaotic.
You walk up, order, and go to pay your 50 rupees.
Yeah.
You scan the code sitting right there on the counter.
And to your eye, the QR code looks perfectly normal.
Exactly. You hit pay, your app shows the payment as successful, and your bank balance drops.
But the stall owner looks at his phone and tells you he didn't get the money.
Right, and in that moment, chaos ensues.
The customer immediately assumes the merchant is trying to scam them, or, maybe the cellular network is just lagging.
Sure, we always blame the network first. But the reality is that the money bypassed the merchant entirely and went instantly into the scammer's account.
And by the time the stall owner realizes the physical QR code on his counter has been compromised, which, by the way, might take hours or even days.
The scammer has collected dozens, maybe hundreds of payments.
Exactly, just from a steady stream of unsuspecting customers.
It's essentially the digital equivalent of a pickpocket slipping their own tip jar directly in front of the barista's tip jar right out in the open.
Yes.
And just watching people drop their money into it while the barista has their back turned making drinks.
The audacity is what makes it work so well.
But what's really going on beneath the surface here is a fundamental disconnect in how we process visual information, isn't it?
It really is. Let's explore that visual processing for a second.
Right.
Think about what a QR code actually is to the human brain.
Right. To our biological eyes, it is completely illegible.
Yeah, it looks like random digital static. It's a matrix of squares that holds absolutely no semantic meaning for us.
But over the last decade, we have been rigorously conditioned to assume that if a code is machine readable, it is inherently secure.
Exactly. We view it as an encrypted, safe pathway provided by some authority.
We really do. We do not look at a QR code with the same skepticism we apply to, say, a handwritten sign or a sketchy URL in an email.
Because it looks industrial. It looks like math.
It does look like math. If we break down the anatomy of a QR code, it actually was industrial.
Right. They were invented back in 1994 by a Japanese company.
Denso Wave, I think they were called. And they were made specifically to track automotive parts on an assembly line.
Yeah, they were designed to be scanned rapidly from any angle, even if they were covered in grease.
Which is why they have those 3 large squares in the corners, the finder patterns.
Exactly. Those tell the scanner exactly where the code is and how it's oriented.
But all the tiny pixels inside that grid, the actual data, are just a massive game of battleship.
Black square means 1, white square means 0.
And our brains can't decode that grid, so we just outsource the trust entirely to the machine. We blindly trust the static.
We do. And because we can't read the code, we rely on environmental cues to establish trust.
Right, the environment. Where do these sticker replacement scams happen the most?
Petrol pumps, metro stations, busy food courts, the local tea stall.
Places that cultivate low attention, fast payment behaviors.
Exactly. You are surrounded by noise. People are impatient behind you. The merchant is totally distracted.
Your cognitive load is already maxed out just navigating the physical space.
You don't have the mental bandwidth to run a security audit on a 2-inch sticker.
So the environment itself acts as an accomplice to the scam.
It really does. The scammer is totally relying on the chaos.
But the tea stall is just the beginning, right? The really terrifying evolution is happening in places where we actually think we're safe.
Yes, places where we sit down, relax, and completely let our guard down.
The contextual exploitation happening in restaurants right now is completely shifting the landscape.
The restaurant environment has fundamentally changed since the pandemic.
Oh, totally. The physical laminated menu has largely vanished in so many places.
Replaced by a little plastic stand on the table with a QR code.
Yeah, it says scan for menu or scan to pay or scan for feedback.
And scammers are walking into these restaurants, posing as customers, sitting at a table for a drink, and quietly replacing those tabletop codes with their own fakes.
Just casually sticking them on while waiting for an appetizer. And the variations of this trap are incredibly insidious.
The most straightforward one is just the fake payment again.
Right. You finish your meal, you scan the code on the table to pay the bill, and the money vanishes into the scammer's account.
You walk out thinking you've settled up, and the restaurant realizes an hour later that a table just walked out on a massive check.
But honestly, the financial misdirection is almost the best case scenario here.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
The fake menu trap is where things get significantly darker.
Right, so consider the sequence of events. You scan the code, expecting a PDF of the menu to pop up on your screen.
But that fake QR code doesn't hold a PDF file.
No, it contains a URL that directs your phone's browser to a malicious website.
And this site is meticulously designed to look exactly like the restaurant's legitimate ordering portal.
It might have the restaurant's logo, the correct fonts, the exact layout. It looks perfect.
It asks you to input your credit card details to start a tab or to pay for your meal in advance.
You type in your card number, your expiration date, your CVV, and you hit submit.
The site might even throw up a fake error message saying, please order at the counter.
Wow, yeah. All while it quietly transmits your full financial identity to a server halfway across the world.
It completely exploits our desire for a seamless experience.
And they also target our love for a good deal, too.
Oh, the review traps.
Yeah. We see a little sticker on the table that says, scan for a 50% discount on your next visit, or claim your free dessert by leaving a review.
It triggers that little dopamine hit of getting something for nothing.
Right. That reward mechanism is so powerful, and once you scan that offer code, it springs the trap.
It might direct you to a page that claims to need verification and demands an OTP, a one-time password.
And this is where they get you. They use a script in the background to initiate a login to your actual bank account.
Right, which triggers the bank to send the real OTP to your phone.
And the moment you type that number into the fake restaurant page to get your free dessert, they capture it and bypass your bank's two-factor authentication.
It's brilliant and terrifying. Or the code just sends a UPI collect request directly to your payment app.
And many people just see the pop-up, assume it's a digital coupon or a receipt, hit approve, and accidentally authorize a massive transfer out of their account.
Because they're not reading the text, they're just chasing the dessert.
Okay, wait, hold on. I need to pause here because this is the leap that trips a lot of people up. Well, I understand someone stealing $50 at a tea stall by rerouting the money. I even understand a fake website tricking me into typing in my credit card.
Sure.
But a lot of these reports discuss QR codes forcing malicious app downloads.
Ah, yes.
And a sticker is just paper and ink. If I scan a piece of paper, my phone doesn't just magically download a virus, right? How does scanning a sticker on a parking meter actually infect my phone hardware?
That is the exact question we need to dissect. Because the bridge from physical paper to digital infection is where the real danger lies.
Right, I'm glad we're getting into this.
Let's look at the parking lot scenario to map out this escalation.
Okay, paint the picture.
In a crowded mall parking garage or outside a massive concert venue, scammers will slap temporary fake QR stickers right onto the concrete pillars or the automated payment booths.
Which people scan without a second thought.
Exactly. Now, the basic version is just volume theft. You scan, pay a small 50 rupee fee to the scammer, the busy guard waves you through, and the scammer collects thousands of rupees an hour.
Annoying, but not phone destroying.
Right. But the advanced version uses what we call a dynamic URL.
Okay, explain the dynamic URL concept in this context.
So when you scan a standard QR code for payment, it usually contains a specific static string of data that triggers your phone's payment app directly.
Like a straight line from A to B.
Exactly. But a dynamic URL is a web address that acts more like a traffic cop.
A traffic cop.
Yeah. When you scan the fake parking sticker, it opens your phone's web browser and sends you to a server controlled by the scammer.
Okay.
In the milliseconds it takes for the page to load, that server runs a script. It actually checks what kind of phone you were using, iPhone or Android.
Thus, it knows what phone I'm holding.
Yes, it checks your operating system versions, everything. And based on that fingerprinting, it decides what kind of attack to serve you.
So it's actively assessing your device's vulnerabilities in real time. That is wild.
Exactly. And instead of just asking for money, the browser redirects to a page that looks like an official portal.
And throws a pop-up, right?
Yes, a pop-up that says something like, "To pay for parking, please install the mall's official secure parking app."
Or like, your payment gateway requires an urgent update to proceed.
Precisely. And this is where the environment plays against us again.
Because you are sitting in your car, you are idling at a boom gate.
There are 3 cars behind you. Someone is honking.
You are definitely not in a state of mind to evaluate software security protocols. You just want the gate to open so you can go home.
So you hit OK or download.
And that environmental pressure is the catalyst.
It is. When you hit download on an Android device, for example, you are agreeing to download an APK file, an Android application package.
But this isn't coming from the secure Google Play Store, is it?
No, it's a direct download from the web. Now, Android phones typically have safeguards against this. They will warn you that installing unknown apps is dangerous.
Right, you get that scary warning screen.
But the scammer's website provides highly detailed, reassuring instructions. It says, "For your security, please go to Settings and allow installation from this source to complete your parking payment."
And because you are rushed and people are honking, you just follow the instructions. You override your own phone's security.
You essentially open the front door and invite the burglar inside because they were wearing a uniform that says, "Parking attendant."
Oh, man. And once that malicious APK is installed, the real nightmare begins.
It really does. The app immediately requests system permissions under the guise of functioning correctly.
Even though a parking app shouldn't need access to your text messages, right?
Exactly. But this malicious app will ask for what is known as accessibility services.
I've heard of this. What does that actually do?
So this is a feature originally designed to help users with disabilities by allowing an app to read the screen aloud or simulate screen taps.
Oh, I see.
It is the holy grail for malware developers.
Because if an app has accessibility permissions, it can see everything happening on your screen.
It has total visibility and control. It can read your private SMS messages in the background without you ever opening the messaging app.
And why does that matter so much?
Because when the scammer goes to a banking website on their own laptop and types in your phone number to reset your password, The bank sends an OTP via SMS to your phone.
Oh, no.
The malicious parking app intercepts that SMS, reads the OTP, silently deletes the message so you never even see it, and beams the code back to the scammer.
So they log into your bank, drain your accounts, and you have absolutely no idea it's happening until your card is declined days later.
Yes. By scanning a parking sticker and rushing through a download prompt, you have effectively handed over the cryptographic keys to your entire digital life.
It is terrifying because the routine nature of paying for parking creates a massive psychological blind spot. We just don't associate a concrete pillar in a garage with international cybercrime.
No, we don't. And that blind spot exists across the entire retail ecosystem.
Okay, so up to this point, we've been analyzing scams that rely on tricking the consumer. The scammer places the trap, and the customer falls into it.
Right. But the fraud ecosystem is diverse. There's a whole other category where the scammer flips the script entirely.
They stop targeting the customer and make the shopkeeper the victim. Let's talk about the reverse fraud.
Yeah, reverse fraud is fascinating because the problem with the sticker scam for criminals is that it requires physical access to a location and it leaves physical evidence behind.
Right, eventually someone peels the sticker off.
Exactly. So how do they steal from merchants without ever touching the shop's QR code?
They fake the confirmation.
Yes. In this scenario, the scammer isn't hiding in the shadows swapping stickers. They are playing the role of the ideal customer.
Okay, let's set the scene again. They walk into an electronics shop, pick out a high-end pair of headphones, walk to the counter, and announce with absolute confidence, "I will pay via UPI or whatever local digital wallet is prevalent."
They establish the terms of the transaction immediately. They are taking control of the interaction.
They pull out their phone, do a little tapping, and then turn the screen around to show the shopkeeper.
Right, and it might be a screenshot they took from a previous legitimate transaction that they've quickly cropped.
Or, more likely, it's a highly edited, completely fake payment success animation generated by a dedicated app.
And the shopkeeper, who probably has 3 other people waiting in line, takes a quick glance.
They see a green check mark, they see a time that looks roughly correct, they nod, bag up the headphones, and the scammer walks out.
And it's only at the end of the day, when the shopkeeper is reconciling their accounts, that they realize the money never actually arrived.
Because they relied entirely on the customer's device for proof of payment.
Exactly. And we really need to unpack the advanced tactics being used in this reverse fraud, because it is not just about showing a static image.
Right, there's more to it.
The scammers are actively exploiting specific sensory vulnerabilities and the psychology of Pavlovian conditioning.
Okay, let's talk about the audio hacks, because this is the part that completely recontextualized how I view retail interactions.
The fake sound apps.
Yes. Almost every small merchant now has a little speaker box sitting on their counter provided by their payment processor.
Right, you see them everywhere.
When a payment goes through, the box lights up, and a synthesized voice announces, "Payment received, 500 rupees," followed by a distinct chime.
And that chime is a brilliant piece of UI designed by the payment companies,
Why is that?
because it solves a massive friction point for merchants. Doing the hard work of opening their own ledger, unlocking their phone, waiting for the app to refresh, and visually verifying the balance takes time and effort.
It breaks their flow state.
Exactly. Hearing an audio chime takes 0 effort. Over the years, merchants have trained themselves to listen for that specific audio cue.
It becomes a sensory shortcut.
Their brain links the sound of the chime directly to the concept of transaction complete and verified. It is classical Pavlovian conditioning.
The sound literally triggers the behavioral response of handing over the goods.
And the scammers know this. They aren't trying to trick the merchant's eyes. They're tricking their ears.
There are applications readily available on the dark web, and sometimes even sneaking onto legitimate app stores disguised as soundboards designed specifically to play these fake audio notifications.
So the scammer stands at the counter, types the exact amount of the headphones into their fake app, and hits a button.
And their phone speakers play a pre-recorded audio file that perfectly mimics the official payment confirmation voice and chime.
And the merchant is distracted, right?
Yeah.
They're ringing up the next customer, they hear the chime.
Their brain registers the sensory input, checks the paid box internally, and they let the scammer walk away.
They don't process that the sound came from the customer's phone rather than their own speaker box.
The auditory processing completely overrides the need for visual verification.
It's the modern digital version of handing over a counterfeit bill with absolute, unwavering confidence.
And using the noise of a busy checkout line to pressure the cashier into accepting it without holding it up to the light.
The confidence is the actual weapon. And, it doesn't stop at audio. Scammers are crafting fake transaction histories that are indistinguishable from the real thing.
Right. These generator apps are highly sophisticated.
They allow the scammer to input the merchant's exact store name, the specific local currency amount, and it auto-generates a screen with the correct current date and time.
It even runs the actual UI animations of popular payment apps.
So if a merchant merely glances at the screen, which is what they do 99% of the time, they will see everything they expect to see.
The visual confirmation bias is total.
But the trick that really dives into the deep end of human psychology is what's known as the pending transaction trick.
Oh, this one is brutal. This isn't just a technical spoof. This is pure sociology and social engineering.
The pending trick is fascinating because it weaponizes our inherent desire to avoid conflict.
How does it play out?
Well, in this scenario, the scammer intentionally shows a screen that says the transaction is pending or processing. They don't show a success screen.
They show a state of digital limbo.
And then they act. They act frustrated. They sigh. They shake their head. Maybe they act a little embarrassed.
They look at the merchant and blame it on a network issue.
They'll say something like, "My bank servers are always so slow during lunch hour. But look, the money has definitely left my account. It says pending right here. I assure you it will arrive in your account in a few minutes."
They are actively building a narrative of shared frustration. They are aligning themselves with the merchant against the stupid technology.
Exactly. They are creating a temporary alliance. And this introduces immense social friction.
Think about the invisible social contract of the checkout line.
The merchant is expected to be polite and efficient. The customer behind the scammer is sighing, checking their watch.
The merchant now faces a choice. Option A, they can refuse to hand over the goods until the money officially clears.
Which essentially means accusing the customer of lying, or at least implying the customer is untrustworthy.
It causes a scene. It creates an awkward, hostile confrontation.
In option B, they can accept the customer's word, trust the pending screen, hand over the goods, and keep the line moving smoothly.
And human beings, especially in a retail environment where customer service is paramount, will almost always choose the path of least resistance.
We hate confronting people.
The social cost of calling someone a liar over a potential network glitch is just too high.
So the merchant smiles, says, "No problem, it happens all the time," hands over the item, and the scammer leaves.
The transaction, of course, was never real. The scammer weaponizes the merchant's politeness and empathy.
The systemic flaw running through all of reverse fraud is that merchants are relying on the customer's device or the customer's word for proof of payment.
They are outsourcing their ledger verification to the person who has the most incentive to lie to them.
It's a massive vulnerability.
So if we pull back and look at the core of everything we've discussed, whether you are the customer at the tea stall getting tricked by a physical sticker, the driver in the parking lot getting tricked into downloading an APK, or the merchant behind the counter getting tricked by a fake screenshot or a fabricated chime, the scammers are exploiting the exact same set of human vulnerabilities.
Which means we really need to deeply analyze our collective blind spots.
If these scams are so pervasive, and if they rely on our own behavior rather than breaking encryption, we need to understand the anatomy of why we fall for them.
Let's catalog the cardinal mistakes people make every single day. Recognizing the specific failure points is the only way to build immunity.
Okay, let's do it. What's the first mistake?
The first, and perhaps most foundational mistake, is blindly trusting the visual authority of the QR code. We discussed this, but it bears repeating.
We treat a matrix barcode as an unassailable truth.
We assume that because a computer generated it, a computer will protect us. We fail to recognize that the code is completely agnostic.
The second mistake is failing to verify the receiver's name. This is massive.
It really is.
When you scan a legitimate code, your payment app will query the banking network and display the registered name of the person or business associated with that account.
It shows up right at the top of your screen before you hit pay.
But we almost universally ignore it. We scan, our eyes drop immediately to the number pad to type in the amount, and we hit send. Why do we skip that verification step?
Because of how our brains process tasks. Reading the name requires a cognitive shift.
Explain that.
You are moving from a visual, physical task, aiming the camera and scanning, to a linguistic task of reading and comprehending text, and then back to a motor task of typing numbers.
That makes sense.
Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman talks about System 1 and System 2 thinking. System 1 is fast, automatic, and intuitive.
Scanning the code and typing the price is System 1.
Yes, reading the merchant's name, cross-referencing it with the physical sign above the stall, and determining if Raju's tea matches Rajesh Kumar Enterprises requires System 2 thinking.
It requires conscious, deliberate effort.
It takes an extra second and a half. And because we are in a rush, we let System 1 drive the entire interaction. We skip the cognitive friction.
Mistake number 3 is the merchant's fatal flaw, believing customer screenshots or audio cues over their own systems.
And mistake number 4 is the consumer equivalent. Ignoring your own bank's SMS notifications or in-app alerts because you assume the web interface you are looking at is accurate.
And mistake number 5 is a failure of physical situational awareness, failing to inspect public QR stickers before scanning them.
Exactly. Now, alongside those behavioral mistakes, there is a very specific catalog of red flags.
These are the environmental and textual cues that should immediately trigger your internal alarm system, right?
Yes, forcing you to switch from that fast System 1 thinking to the critical System 2 thinking.
Let's break down the red flags. The first and most potent is urgency.
Urgency is the scammer's best friend.
Yeah.
If there's a sign that says urgent, scan to avoid a fine, or warning, your parking will be towed, scan immediately to register.
Or even if a physical person is verbally rushing you to complete the scan.
Urgency overrides the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logical analysis.
It triggers a mild fight-or-flight response.
You stop evaluating risk and start reacting to the immediate perceived threat. If a QR code demands immediate action, assume it is malicious.
The second red flag is the flip side of the same coin, limited time offers. Scan now. This 50% discount expires in 5 minutes.
It's the exact same psychological pressure, just framed as FOMO, the fear of missing out rather than fear of a penalty.
Right. And the third red flag is the behavioral cue we discussed. The, trust me, the payment is pending, excuse.
Any customer who tries to manage your emotional state regarding a transaction should be viewed with extreme skepticism.
The fourth red flag is physical. A random, slightly skewed QR code pasted obviously over an original printed board or a laminated menu.
We often don't notice a sticker placed over a sign because we only see what we're looking for.
We are looking for the geometric pattern of the code to aim our camera at. We are not looking at the edges of the paper.
We suffer from inattentional blindness. You have to train your eyes to look at the borders of the code, not just the center.
The fifth red flag is seeing an unknown name or an individual's personal name instead of a business name on the payment screen.
If you are at a large chain restaurant and the payment receiver comes up as Rahul Patel, that is a massive red flag.
And the ultimate merchant red flag, hearing a payment receive sound or seeing a customer success screen, but getting absolutely no corresponding SMS, notification, or ledger update on your own secure device.
Hearing all of this, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. You might start looking at every physical environment as a landscape of hidden traps.
That is exactly the tension, because we are completely surrounded by these things. They are on every restaurant table, every parking meter, every checkout counter, every concert ticket.
They are ubiquitous.
How do we distinguish the genuine from the fake without becoming totally paranoid? I don't want to live in a world where I'm aggressively interrogating my barista or trying to peel stickers off the wall at the mall with my fingernails before I pay for parking.
Right. It defeats the entire purpose of the convenience.
It really does. So how do we balance this?
That is the essential tension. And resolving that tension brings us to the crucial thesis of all the data we've analyzed. I want to make this point absolutely clear. The QR code itself is not dangerous.
It is merely a matrix of data.
It is a completely agnostic piece of technology. It is a bridge.
The bridge is neutral. It's just a pathway.
Exactly. The danger lies entirely in the fake destination that the bridge points to, the manipulated physical entry point of the bridge, the misplaced human trust we have in the bridge's construction, and the hurry behavior we exhibit while crossing it.
So the scammers are not out there hacking the blockchain.
No, they are not breaking advanced 256-bit encryption algorithms. They're not rewriting banking software architecture.
They are simply hacking human psychology.
They are hacking our deeply ingrained desire for convenience, our environmental distraction, and our unwarranted trust in the visual authority of a digital artifact.
Which is actually incredibly empowering news.
It is.
Because if the root of the problem is our own psychology and our own habitual behavior, then the solution doesn't require a degree in computer science.
You don't need to buy expensive, convoluted antivirus software for your phone to stop this.
You don't need to abandon digital payments and go back to carrying a wad of cash.
It just requires a tiny, almost microscopic behavioral shift. We can build a defense system using nothing but our own awareness.
Let's do that. Let's build that defense system right now.
It is a remarkably simple, zero-cost defense system. Let's break down the actionable steps. These are the safety rules that translate into a daily shield.
Rule number 1, name verification. This is the big one. This solves the vast majority of consumer-facing scams.
It really does.
When you are on the payment screen, after you have scanned the code, but crucially, before your thumb moves to hit the pay or send button, force your eyes to look at the top of the screen.
Read the name of the registered receiver.
Ensure that the name logically matches the business you are standing in. If you are at Raju's tea stall, the name shouldn't be a random string of alphanumeric characters, and it shouldn't be John Doe.
If there is a mismatch, or if the name is completely hidden, SOP. Do not proceed.
Ask the merchant, hey, what name should come up on my screen?
It forces you back into System 2 thinking. It is the most effective mental firewall you have.
Rule number 2, physical observation. Before you aim your camera, take a half second to look closely at the physical object you are scanning.
Look at the sticker itself. Is it freshly pasted? Are the corners peeling up slightly?
Is it a double layer, meaning you can see the faint outline of another code hiding underneath it?
Is it tilted, off-center, or unusually printed compared to the high-quality graphic design of the rest of the sign?
A simple physical check can save you. If you can easily peel a sticker off a laminated restaurant menu, that is a massive red flag.
Legitimate businesses print their codes directly onto the material or use highly secure, permanent fixtures.
Rule number 3 is specifically for the shopkeepers and merchants listening. Strict merchant verification.
Shopkeepers must fundamentally stop trusting customer screenshots, animations, and customer-generated audio as proof of payment.
The era of the visual glance is over. You must verify the transaction on your own terms.
You must check your own bank SMS, verify the transaction in your own secure merchant application, and physically confirm that your account balance has actually increased.
Your screen and your screen alone is the only truth. The customer screen is entirely subjective and easily manipulated.
Now, it might feel slightly rude at first. It might slow down your checkout line by an additional 3 to 5 seconds per customer.
But those 5 seconds are the difference between operating a profitable business and unknowingly giving away your entire inventory for free to a smiling scammer.
The social friction is absolutely worth the financial security.
Rule number 4, avoid unknown QRs entirely. This seems obvious, but the data shows it happens constantly.
Never scan random posters pasted on street poles offering mystery prizes.
Do not scan codes printed on unsolicited mailers promising free gifts.
Be incredibly wary of scanning codes scribbled on parking garage walls or public transit stations.
And absolutely never, under any circumstances, scan a QR code forwarded to you on WhatsApp or Telegram by an unknown number.
Or even by a friend if the context seems strange. If you don't know exactly where the bridge leads and you don't trust the person who built it, do not cross it.
And finally, rule number 5, 0 permissions.
This is critical for preventing malware.
If you scan a code, say for a menu or a parking meter, and it does not take you to a standard expected web page or directly open your payment app, but instead prompts an app installation.
Or asks for system permissions, like camera or microphone access.
Or attempts to download an APK file, abort immediately.
Close the browser tab,
Okay.
hard close the application.
Do not hit allow. Do not hit OK, just this once to get it over with.
Never grant accessibility permissions to an app downloaded outside of an official app store.
If we distill all of these rules down, if we synthesize all the data into one golden safety rule for the modern digital citizen, what is it?
It is simply this: check the name and check the URL before taking action.
That single 2-second pause for verification is the ultimate firewall.
Those 2 seconds save your money, they protect your bank accounts, and they keep your entire digital identity from being siphoned off while you sit in a dark parking garage.
That is the core takeaway. We love digital payments. We love the frictionless world.
It is incredibly convenient, and it has genuinely revolutionized how we interact with the economy.
But that convenience demands a baseline of awareness. It is a necessary trade-off.
We cannot have frictionless living without taking on the personal responsibility of vigilance.
Not every square of digital static is genuine. Not every green check mark on a screen is real.
The mantra to remember: The phrase you should actively repeat in your head the next time you pull out your phone at a checkout counter or a restaurant table is, think before you scan. Verify before you pay.
We've covered a lot of ground today, unpacking the hidden dangers of what might be the most common sticker in the world.
We've explored the history of the technology, the psychology of UI design, the mechanics of malware, and the complex sociology of the checkout line.
We've seen how the simplest technology can be weaponized against our most deeply ingrained habits of trust, empathy, and haste.
And as we wrap up this analysis, I want to leave you with one final, lingering question to ponder the next time you are out in the world, effortlessly interacting with the invisible digital infrastructure around you.
What's the question?
If a simple 10-cent printed sticker can successfully bypass millions of dollars of sophisticated banking cybersecurity simply by exploiting our human desire to save 3 seconds of time, what other physical-to-digital bridges in our daily lives are we blindly trusting right now?
Consider the digital kiosks at the airport, the NFC tap-to-pay terminals at the grocery store, the smart locks on our hotel room doors.
The static isn't always as innocent as it looks.
Take care of yourselves, slow down for just 2 seconds, and keep questioning the world around you.